Welcome back to You Got Moxie. Today's episode is part of our special series recorded live at the 2024 Georgia State of the Industry, hosted at Trillis Studios. Our guest is the immensely talented Adanne Ebo, writer, producer, and one half of the powerhouse sibling duo behind the acclaimed film Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, which was filmed right here in Georgia. In this conversation, Adanne reflects on her journey in the film industry, from breaking in alongside her sister to navigating the ever-changing landscape of filmmaking. She shares her insights on staying creatively sharp, the importance of collaboration, and why Georgia's scrappy, innovative filmmaking culture feels like home. Adanne also dives into what inspires her, how she approaches challenges, and why she believes independent filmmaking is on the rise. This episode is full of wisdom, humor, and heartfelt reflections that will leave you inspired. Before we dive in, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Frank Patterson from Trillis Studios, and we are thrilled to present this special mini-series of You Got Moxie, recorded live at the 2024 State of the Industry event right here at Trillis Studios. At Trillis, we set the stage and enrich the lives of the story makers who inspire the world. And when we say story makers, we're talking about world-class innovators, creators, and makers who we believe are driving change. And that's why we're partnering with You Got Moxie, a podcast dedicated to meaningful conversations about the how of change making. This just makes sense to us at Trillis. To learn more about Trillis Studios and our vision for the future of storytelling, check us out at trillisstudios.com. Now enjoy this episode of You Got Moxie, live from the 2024 State of the Industry event.
Welcome to You Got Moxie, the podcast about the how of change making. I'm your host, Julianne Crommett, and today we're live from the Georgia State of the Industry Summit here in 2024 to timestamp us. And it's amazing to have with us today Adanne Ebo. Adanne, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it's wonderful to see you again.
I'm always happy to be back, always.
I know we're keep talking about how that your sister, and your whole family just needs to move back here.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
Yes.
You had it here, folks. We have it on camera and on tape, right?
Yes, it's recorded, so it's real.
It's real. Exactly. Yeah. Now we know. And so, as you're thinking about, you've come back, you were here with us the first year in 2022, and you're back now again talking about filmmaking. A lot has probably happened. If you could kind of update us as to how's the journey been as a filmmaker, tell a little bit of your story. And have there been any aha moments for you recently where you were like, oh man, that's something I hadn't thought of before, something that's inspiring you?
Oh, interesting. Well, since 2022, wow, it feels like so long ago.
Like
but
a pandemic
not that long.
time. It's very weird.
I know.
Yeah.
My sister and I, in 2022, we were in an overall deal with 20th Television.
That's right.
We're now in an overall deal with Sony Television.
Okay, yeah.
And we've been just trying to make as much as possible. We're developing a couple of feature films and TV shows as well, and praying for a green light for something.
And that's the story, isn't it? All we are right now.
Yes.
In entertainment is praying for that green light.
That's prayers all around.
Or just trying to make stuff independently, because that's really what it is.
Trying to make anything.
That's right. Just keep making, right? And for you, as you've seen, there's all these changes going on in the industry, like everything from technology to financing model shifting to everything else. How are you sort of dealing with all the changes happening? I'm thinking about our audience at home where things can just feel overwhelming. Like it's like, what do I do? Where do I start? How do I keep putting one foot in front of the other? How have you been thinking about kind of managing through the change?
Yeah, my sister and I are like we come up with ideas a lot. Like we're always ideating and we're always writing. So even if it's not something that we're actively developing with a studio or a producer, or if it's not something that is actively going towards production or anything, if we come up with something, we're like, let's write a few pages of it. Let's see how it feels. And for us, that helps us stay limber, and it helps us feel like we're still creating, because the creative muscle is still a muscle. And so even if it feels like you're not actively doing anything, as long as you're creating, I feel like that's helpful. That helps me feel sane anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an idea of just keep making, almost like Dory from Finding
just
Nemo.
keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. Exactly. Also because you can't really wait for the changes that are happening, right? Because you can't control them, in many ways. But what you can control is what you're doing.
Absolutely.
With your
energy. And I think a lot of people should treat it how at least a lot of us treated before we broke into the industry. We just were doing things. We were writing, developing, producing, directing short films, student films, just staying active as much as possible because, we're in a kind of a lull right now, but things are going to eventually be on an uptick, and you want to be ready when they are.
Correct. See, they applauded you. They loved what you said so much here.
I'm wise.
You're very wise, but we knew that already. I think also part of it is we're probably gonna see an explosion more independent filmmaking as this goes on, because if you see contraction in one space, you see expansion in another.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking a lot about Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, you and your sister's film from a couple years ago, filmed right here in Georgia.
Yep.
And you all grew up here. I mean, you have deep ties to this place and space. So you're back at Georgia State of the Industry. When you think about this place and space where you grew up, you've made a film here, right? And you want to come back. Why is Georgia and this filmmaking community so special? What keeps you wanting to keep coming back and engaging?
I was actually just at an industry event in LA a couple of days ago, and me and one of my friends, we were talking. We were like, man, we don't want to shoot anything in LA.
Yes.
It's just, and we were talking about why that is, and it really is the culture of it. The culture in Georgia is it feels like, I guess because the filmmaking culture in Georgia is newer than it is in LA.
That's right.
So
That's
people
right.
maybe are like less jaded or something, but it feels kind of like really scrappy and innovate. Like everyone really just are really hungry to make things.
Yes.
And it's everyone from all the levels, from like permitting to crews to the actors. Everyone wants to help you make something. And that's the experience we found. I mean, I think Adanne and I have only ever shot things in Georgia. Well, she's in New York now. She's shooting for the first time right now in not Georgia.
Which is wild.
Which is wild because she directed our movie. She's directed an episode of Atlanta. She's directed 3 episodes of Swarm and something else too. What was it?
That's okay if you can't remember her resume.
No. But
IMDb, everybody. Anyway.
And all her short films have shot here in Georgia.
Yeah. Amazing. And I think what you say is really true. We've had a lot of guests and even talks throughout the day here at the summit about how there's something special going on here in terms of, as you said, it's not so entrenched. So there's almost this freedom and flexibility that's appearing here. It is an inherently more diverse place, especially in terms of representation across race, ethnicity, political, socioeconomic, pick your area. And you can feel it in the film industry here in a different way. In a way, I would actually argue, and I've written about it, that New York and LA have failed, in that way, given how diverse places they are.
Truly, the numbers don't match.
They don't.
I don't get it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we're closer here. And so that really starts to create, a sauce, talking about this notion of creative abrasion, right? Diversity of perspectives and thoughts really lead you to a better outcome. And so when you think about events like this, like the Georgia State of the Industry, it's your second time here, and it's a collision of people across the Georgia film industry who all hold different roles. We have everything from elected officials to financiers to filmmakers, right? Actors, pick your area, crew members, vendors. Why is it so important to bring everybody together in community, especially when you think about Georgia?
Because filmmaking is a collaborative process naturally.
That's right.
And so when you have an industry that is just so highly collaborative, and that an industry that touches a bunch of different sub industries in the process, then you have to bring everyone together. And that's the only way that the industry here, specifically in Georgia, is going to grow. Something that I'm really passionate about because I do hope to move back here.
Again, we have it on camera and on tape. Yeah.
Said it twice.
Yes.
I really want a lot of development to take place here. So writers' rooms. There are some, but it's still predominantly, even after the pandemic, where we went to Zoom rooms for writers' rooms.
That's right.
Now that we're back in person for the most part, most of it still takes place in Los Angeles. And I'm like, why? I think we've proven that we could be just about anywhere, but also why not here where so much production is actively happening?
Yes.
From all over.
Correct. And then you have proximity to the production as the writer's room,
which you should have. Right.
Correct.
Which is something we fought for during the strike. But,
here we are.
We'll
keep on fighting for that, and I think you're absolutely right. People forget that Georgia is such a production town in the sense of things being produced, right, and vendors and all of that. But they're not thinking about the deal making, or the writers' rooms, or like sort of the heart of story existing here. And the question is, why not? And we've just got to create both a cultural shift, and I think that's folks like yourself, like you and your sister coming and saying, "Hey, we're putting a stake in the ground here." Tyler Perry's been doing it forever.
Yes, exactly. And I think also a lot of I know a lot of the the big agencies are now they have offices here.
That's
if
right.
They didn't before, they have offices here, and I think that's because people on the business side of things are seeing that people need to be stationed here in order to really continue to develop the culture here, especially because so much production takes place here. You kind of need to be close to the action.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that proximity is proximity, community. These are all the themes that have come up through the day today, too.
Yep.
And, as we're thinking about our audience listening at home, and maybe they're doing a pivot, they're thinking about growing their filmmaking craft, what advice do you have in terms of what are things or practices that you do that help you stay sharp creatively?
This is going to sound kind of like duh, but you'd be surprised how many people in this industry, in all facets, from creatives to agents, business folks, don't actually watch television and film.
What? Now you say, I was thinking about a friend like that the other day. Yes.
So many people, quite frankly, a lot of the big decision makers don't watch, and they're deciding what gets greenlit. Which is
true. I also say people don't read, which I find bizarre.
Well, I just heard something very disturbing that in the curriculum in the United States, in grade school, people aren't assigning full books to read anymore. Teachers,
what?
They assign excerpts, and I'm like, oh. No.
Oh no.
But I feel like that's kind of the kind of the culture that we're in across all types of content and media, right? It's about snippets. And I feel like people are disconnected from consuming things in their totality or holistically.
That's right. Right.
That they end up even not watching things, even though they actively participate in this industry every day. And it's like, you're making things to be watched, but then don't watch anything? I don't.
Right. And then how are you then connected if you're not watching or consuming to the consumer and audience, or even knowing what the pulse of things are going on? This is a two-way conversation.
You can't be.
Right.
And also as a creative, you have to, for me, that I didn't realize it at the time, but when I grew up, and I loved watching television and film. I loved reading.
Yes.
I was really it was really studying. It was studying the art and the craft.
That's right.
A lot of people thought it was just, watching TV, but that's how I learned what types of film I loved. That's how I got a favorite director, and how I learned what type of film language spoke to me the most.
Right.
But you have to consume, you have to study it in order for that to take place.
Correct, because then you can understand how you want to break it.
Absolutely.
But what do you even know what to break? Exactly.
Yep.
And it's so interesting you say that. I used to watch television while doing my math homework in high school, and my mom did not understand it. And I was like, no, Mom, I need it in order to focus, actually.
Adanne and I, we'll write a script while watching something. But it'll be something like, it can't, if we're writing I don't know, something fantastical, then we'll put on The Office. It just has to be something that we know well, but also makes us feel creative because we love the content, but it won't impede on the type of content we're currently trying to make.
Right.
But it's both comforting and stimulating for us. We always have the TV on.
I love that. I also love that you named The Office as one of the options, because I totally get that. By the way, I've been rewatching Veep. I can't imagine why.
Veep is my husband and I quote Veep, I think, on a daily basis.
It's brilliant. My husband and I do too.
It is one of definitely got to be top 5 for me.
Sentient enema might be my favorite insult that has ever been written on television. About what's his face?
Jonah.
Jonah.
Yeah.
Yes.
God. Oh my God, he gets the best burns.
The best burns.
Oh my God, like the recipient of.
Hello. And I think also the other thing, it's so interesting about people not watching or reading, because you think about too the amount of access we now have to watch anything that has ever been made.
It is anything.
Literally.
And whenever you want to, you don't have to wait for it to come on.
Correct.
You can just click it whenever you want.
Wild. You know what? An exercise, by the way, in case it's helpful for people listening at home, that actually somebody who's attending here at the summit, I gave him this exercise because he asked me, how could I learn TV a bit better? So what I told him is, I want you to watch your favorite television shows, and I want you to pick a favorite episode, like one you love watching, and I want you to reverse engineer the outline for that episode.
That is a good exercise.
And by the way, he came to our next lunch, I kid you not, and he goes, "You've ruined me." Because he realized the formula. He started to understand the patterns.
Because there is one.
Correct, because there is one.
Yeah.
And he's like,
and that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, no. Because we as humans like pattern, we like habit. So it's good to understand what patterns and habits do we pick into.
Yep.
But apparently I've ruined television for him now. He can't unsee it,
Yeah, but I feel like that you can still engage with it in a different way.
That's right. Is it bad? Exactly.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Exactly. So before you leave us, what for you, when you think of like one word that comes to mind, when you think about this place of Georgia and the creativity and the life that it's given you in so many ways, what's that one word that comes to your mind? And apparently they're applauding you for it already.
I haven't even said the word yet.
Yeah.
What is one word? I mean, for me, it feels like home. It feels like home in all the best senses. Georgia is home for me, but making film here, it reminds me. You know what a better word is? No, that's 2 words. Never mind.
2 words is fine. What do you got?
I was gonna say it feels like a combination of nostalgia and like futurism for me, because I think about. Like making film here makes me think about growing up here, consuming TV and film in a very specific way. And then it makes me think about the future of filmmaking, specifically in Georgia, and what that could look like. And that together, the nostalgia plus like the futurism of it makes it feel like home. I think about my past home here. I think about my future because I'm coming back.
Yeah.
3 times I'm saying.
3 times. That's the magic.
Beetlejuice. Uh-oh.
Yeah,
that means it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
it feels like home, and that's to me. For me, that's the best state of filmmaking is when something feels familial and just like home.
That's exactly right. And who doesn't want to feel the hearth of the fire and being home? Yeah,
it's the only way to do this. Honestly,
honestly, it is, and it also keeps you alive in the work, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Well, Donna, we cannot thank you enough for joining us here, coming to State of the Industry and joining us on You Got Moxie. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun, as always.
Absolutely, and then we'll see you here when it's home.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thanks again for joining us for You Got Moxie. Continue to follow us and listen to your favorite episodes at collectivemoxie.com. That's collectivemoxie.com. We're excited to see you next time. Take care.